Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the MarquetteHoops.com basketball program. We are brought to you by Moonlight Graham, Modern Dental Benefits. Moonlight Graham, a proud sponsor of the program, and Craig Caston, you're our MVP. We thank you so much. Jason Ruck is our marvelous producer. John Dodds is he makes it all go for us on the program. And another great get by you, the Hall of Famer, Tony Smith, for today's show.
He and Stephen Homer True are must listen to, and I just turned the sound down during the Marquette telecast and listened to Tony and Homer because you can hear what's going to happen. You can hear insight from Tony that you can't hear from anyone else.
Couldn't agree more. Let's tip it off with T. Smith. He is one of the all-time greats in every way, Tony Smith. And T, a blowout loss at number 1, UConn then, and then 2 amazing wins. And Cam Jones has been out of sight with career highs 34 and 34 against DePaul and Xavier. Amazing.
Yeah, he's gotten it back. Listen, he needed it, and they're going to need him definitely going down the stretch here to the final, end of the season, and then into the Big East tournament and the NCAA tournament. So it's good to see him back. He was struggling for a minute with his shot midway through the season, but clearly he's back now with 2 back-to-back big games. And as far as Marquette goes, obviously DePaul, Xavier, not the caliber of opponent that UConn is. And, hey, sometimes you're going to get those games where the other team has everything going and you have nothing going, and that's why you get a lopsided loss like you saw at UConn. But, listen, these guys are strong. They're tested, and they battle back. They're doing what they're supposed to do, win games they're supposed to win. They got some tough ones coming down the stretch. Obviously, another matchup with UConn, matchup with Creighton coming up soon. So those will be some great tests for Marquette. Again, it's not going to make or break them, but there'll definitely be some good tests.
Yeah, the Huskies coming up soon at Fiserv. What a game that'll be. I listened to Shaka after the loss at UConn with you and Homer on your broadcast, and he said, yes, UConn's amazing, but we were not Marquette. It seems as if, from your expert opinion, this is the team that Shaka has. When they're playing well, they're lights out regardless of competition in most cases, huh?
You got to give them a lot of credit. They're a well-coached team. They had it going in that game. I mean, absolutely on offense, they were surgical. Just Marquette were just a step behind at every turn. They were getting layups, wide open shots. When they started hitting those shots from 3 after getting the layups, man, it was a big-time hill to climb. And then you turn around on the offensive end and you can't make a shot. It's just tough, man. Their first 10 minutes looked like, yes, this is the dogfight that everybody thought it was going to be, the heavyweight bout. It was like, I think it was 18 up for a while after 10 minutes, and then UConn just exploded. And I was telling Homer, I said, hey, man, it's first one to blink because this game looks like it's going to be tough. And then Marquette just stalled on offense. And we've seen that during the season where they kind of stall offensively, but typically they're good on defense, and it covers it up or minimizes them getting behind so far. But with UConn playing the way they were on offense, it was just no stopping them that day.
No one appreciates point guard play like you. Talk about Tyler Kolek.
Yeah, Tyler Kolek's amazing, man. Up for Player of the Year as he should be. I'm pretty sure Shaka the same. We want to see him more aggressive because we know that when he is aggressive, Marquette is super dangerous. They're even more dangerous than they are when he's just looking to pass like he did the other night with the 18 assists. But if he's aggressive to score, he puts the defense in a big-time dilemma, right? Are you going to, come up on him? We've seen him, get hot from 3 and knock down threes. If you're going to try to go under him to prevent him from using the pick and roll, and if he is willing to take that shot and he's aggressive, feeling good that day, you're going to be in for a long day because he wants to get to the pick and roll. We know he wants to pass, and that's when you get Oso involved. And when you do that, I mean, they're unstoppable because now you got to drop on Oso to prevent a dunk, and then Cam Jones, David Joplin are sitting out on the wing waiting for open looks. So they become very dangerous as Tyler Kolek becomes dangerous and aggressive to score. So he's got it all. I mean, he's not like the quickest guard out there. He's not the most athletic guard out there, but his IQ is off the charts, and that's what helps him be so effective.
He's got that old man's game. It seems like he gets into the lane, and he's getting a lot stronger after his first year. Must have been working with Todd Smith a lot because he's a lot stronger. Talk about he gets to the lane, he can bounce off people. He has that uncanny ability to use the glass on banks from the bank is open at weird angles.
Right. Yeah, he's a good finisher around the rim. He's getting better, and as you say, strength has a lot to do with it. But it's just that savviness. Again, I talk about guards who aren't super fast. I look at a Jalen Brunson in the NBA. I remember a Mark Jackson. Guys that are just not super fast, but they're so effective and they're crafty. Andre Miller, another guy I think about as not an overly fast guard and uses strength and IQ to operate on the floor, and that's what you see Tyler Kolek doing. So, I mean, it's fun to watch, especially when he's decides that, hey, I'm going to shoot some threes today, and I'm going to knock them down on him. Then it gets really fun to watch.
He seems to do what they need, right, Tony? Against DePaul, he looked like a combination of Bob Cousy and Magic Johnson with some of those passes on the way to the all-time school assist record of 18, beating the single season scoring record, if you will, or assist record by a fellow we remember very well, right?
That's right. Yeah. Listen, Tony Miller was unbelievable. When you look at his stats, they're amazing. I mean, it's like who was this guy passing to, and how they were making all these shots. I mean, it was unbelievable. His number when you see it up there, and I think he's almost doubled my number. It's ridiculous. So, but Kolek has some of the same abilities as far as vision goes. I mean, he's looking to pass, and that's the dilemma with Tyler. I told him one time, I said, hey man, listen, at home you can pass, have fun. I said, but when you go on the road and you're in these big games, you got to look to score, because when you're aggressive, team is much harder to guard. And I get it, you want to pass. I know that's your main thing. It's almost like, when people look at LeBron, they want to compare LeBron to Jordan. I always tell people they're two different players. LeBron's a facilitator, and he can score when he has to, but he is really more of a facilitator. The same thing with Kolek. He really wants to pass and facilitate. But if you press him and if, he's in the right mindset, he can still go get you some buckets.
Well, you had raised a really good point last year where normally if you're an opponent, you don't go out when a player like Oso Ighodaro has the ball at the free throw line or at the top of the key, because unless he has a good jump shot, Oso Ighodaro does not have a consistent jump shot. But he's such a good passer that you raised the point where they can run Kolek off of him setting a pick with the ball and create space for Kolek, and he almost forces the opponent to go out. The opponent,
and that's what. Yeah, no question. They can do a lot of things, because people are going to sag off of Oso. He's not going to shoot a three. He's not going to shoot a free throw line jumper. He's going to try to maybe take one dribble and shoot that little floater that he shoots. But yeah, if the big man's playing back, there's a lot of space there. So if Kolek comes off for a handoff, I mean, he's going to be wide open there. You got to look. Now the big's going to have to step up, and that's when Oso gets the roll. So we got a lot of different ways to combat people, playing off of Oso, and they've been very effective that way. I mean, I think the times when you see Marquette not operating well is when people actually prevent Kolek from getting to the pick and roll and not allowing him to use it. Because if you let him use it, especially going to the left, you're going to be in big trouble.
Stevie Mitchell, Tony, your expert opinion. I just love watching this guy.
Yeah, Stevie's one of my favorite. I like to pride myself on defense, especially when I went to the league. And Stevie's one of those guys. He's got the athleticism. He's got the physical abilities. He's a strong kid, but he has the defensive IQ. That's the thing that puts him over the top. I mean, a lot of guys are athletic. They got long arms, but he combines that with high basketball IQ on defense, and it really serves him well. I mean, this guy's always got a hand on the ball. He's always in the way. He's a pest. Homer calls him the Hall of Fame pest. I mean, he just bothers the ball handler. And, it's getting to one of those points where if you're the opposing coach, you got to be like, hey, man, listen, if this guy's around you, just give the ball up. Don't try to take him on, because a lot of times he's going to get a hand on the ball. He's going to disrupt what you're trying to do, and you just don't want that if you're an opposing coach. So just give the ball up and let somebody else facilitate while Stevie Mitchell's on it, because he is a nightmare.
Tony, you became an outstanding defender. There aren't too many people I know, certainly not among us, who guarded Michael Jordan. You were very smart on the court, in addition to the amazing God-given gifts. Talk to us, if you will, though, about defensive IQ. What does that mean?
Yeah, defensive IQ, I mean, you really have to understand who you're playing against and what they want to do. I think that's where it starts, right? Understanding the scheme and how teams are trying to hurt you. If they got great guard play, all right, what does this guy want to do? What is he really trying to do? So I'm not going to let him get to his spots, right? You always hear that in basketball. Like, he can get to his spots, right? Well, I'm going to keep you off of your spots. I'm going to make you beat me with one of your weaker ways of scoring or one of your weaker abilities. So you got to try to make people use that, and that's just the beginning of understanding. Then it's being able to get in position, understanding how. As a matter of fact, I showed Stevie Mitchell a little trick about getting over screens. I was watching them, and they were getting hit on screens every time, and it was forcing a switch. If you watch them, you'll see that the guards get switched on the bigs a lot, and that's because they get hit and caught on screens. So I was trying to show Stevie Mitchell a little technique, and he's been doing it. So, and I knew he would do it. He's a smart kid. That's the thing about him. The guy's brilliant, and he was able to pick it up. And so they're still working it out because now the bigs still don't understand that he's going to get through the screen, so they're kind of still switching. But still, he took the concept that I just explained to him like a little 5-minute conversation, and he picked up on it, and he's been doing great at it. So that's the kind of guy he is. But just understanding little stuff like that, you got to know where people want to go, what they're trying to do, and what teams' schemes are, and how you can disrupt it. And he just seems to have a feel for that. Like, I know what this guy wants to do, and I'm just not going to let him do it.
Tony, as you've been around Shaka, you hear so many good things about him, especially his people skills, and the kids love him and what have you. But what do you think is his greatest strength as a head coach?
I think that's what it is. You know, he says it all the time. It's relationship. Like when you see Shaka and you see him around, talk to him, he doesn't come across as a basketball coach. You know, I've been around a lot of coaches, and you can tell, okay, this guy's a coach, right? Shaka just comes across as a nice guy, and that's it. I mean, he's just he comes across as a regular nice guy, and I mean that's about as basic as I can say it. And I think that's his strength, though, right? He's not that typical like, oh yeah, I'm the coach, and you know I'm this stern figure and all that. He doesn't come across like that, and I think that plays well with the players, especially in today's age. It's a different world today, but as far as the other people, like you know, myself, the rest of the staff, other people on our travel party, I mean, he just doesn't come across as that guy. Like, I'm the guy, right? I'm the head coach. He just comes across as a regular old guy who's very nice and down to earth.
Well, Homer is your friend and sidekick on the MU radio broadcast. So
he does not come across as a down to earth guy.
Really?
He comes across as he got a crazy old guy. Yeah,
that's you love it. But he tells a story about how he went up to Shaka and said, "There's only one thing wrong with your contract." Right after 10 years, he goes, "What?" He goes, "It's not a lifetime contract." What a fit he is for the Golden Eagles and Marquette as a whole.
Yeah, Homer says a lot of crazy stuff, but that wasn't one of them. He's right. I mean, Shaka, like I say, he's a great coach, and like I say, he's just a great person, and the guys love him. You know, I talk to the guys. You can just see the interactions, right? It's not like you've seen before. I watched a lot of basketball. A lot of interactions of player coach are not like that, but Shaka has a relationship with the guys, and he can get on them. It's one of those relationships where he cannot, you know, not get on guys, right, and not let them know when they're not doing what he wants them to do or what they need to be doing. So that isn't an issue either. So that just even more proves that it's a great relationship.
What are your thoughts on the loss of Shawn Jones? Thank goodness Chase Ross returned, and he looks to be at full strength after a scary injury at Seton Hall. And just talked about the bench in terms of Ben Gold, the freshman.
Yeah, I mean, the Shawn Jones is a huge loss. You know, we talked about Stevie Mitchell and how pesky he is on defense. Shawn Jones is equally as pesky. He's even quicker than Stevie Mitchell is. I mean, the guy is just a monster on defense. Again, another guy that I'm not going to try to challenge him on the dribble. I'm just going to give it up, get to the next guy, let him handle the ball when Shawn Jones is around me. And then offensively, you know, we've seen him struggle with his shot, but then he started to knock down shots. We know he can get in the paint and cause problems. Getting in the paint is a big issue for defenses, and he can do it with the best of them. He can pretty much get by anybody, and I know he feels like he can get by anybody because he does challenge almost anyone off the dribble. So, you know, you have to pick it up, and you're right. The getting Chase Ross was huge back off of that shoulder injury, and he looks good. His three-point shot is good, but now you're going to have to rely on some of the freshmen. Trey Norman's going to have to get in there. Zay Lowry's going to have to get in there. They're going to have to play some minutes, and we've seen them in, and we've seen them do some good things at spots here. But they're freshmen, obviously. You're not going to depend on them for 35 big minutes, right? They're going to play in spurts, a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there. They got to hold the fort down. You talked about Ben Gold. Ben Gold is going to have to, you know, get ready to transition himself into that also role, right? And we're seeing signs of it right now, but he's still got a long way to go to catch up to Oso. I mean, Oso's at an unbelievable level right now, but Ben Gold has some of the same capabilities, and he can also shoot the three. So it's definitely going to be a different dynamic with him when he's in there. And they've been playing those two guys together for a couple of minutes now. You see Ben Gold and Oso in there at the same time. So he adds a different dynamic, but you should lose a little bit of depth with Jones, and we know guard play is key in the NCAA tournament. That's just what it is. Obviously, there's a couple of elite big men out there, but for the most part, a lot of these teams are guard-oriented, guard-led. So depth at the guard position certainly will be missed, but I think Marquette has enough depth there still to be okay.
Have you seen progress, notable progress from Ben Gold, Tony, from year 1 to year 2?
I have, and it's not necessary. It might not show up in stats, right? It's things that, okay, I think he's got a better understanding. He's looking at different things. He's trying different things, whether it be, trying to be that facilitator that also is, because that's their offense, right? He's going to have to be at the elbow, giving handoffs, making backdoor passes, locating guys, and then, like I say, he also has the ability to shoot. So the defense is going to be playing a little different. The thing for Ben Gold is he can't look at Oso too closely because defenses play him differently, and they're not going to play Ben Gold that way. So it's going to be a different look, and it might even help him up. Like if a guy's playing off of Oso, it's even harder to make that pass that Oso makes all the time. Those backdoor passes, you got a big guy that's about 2 or 3 feet off of you. I mean, that's a tough pass to make with that guy off of you like that. He still's able to do it. So Ben Gold won't have that problem. Guys will be up on him trying to prevent that pass, but he's still going to have to do some of the same thing. I'm seeing him get smarter out there. His biggest leap is going to have to be defensively. He's going to have to get down in guard and get a little bit stronger as well. Like, I don't know if you remember also when he was a freshman, he was paper thin. And I was like, man, this guy is skinny. And now he's huge, right? He's muscular. So you got to see that same progression. I know Todd Smith has those guys in the gym working hard. So he'll be bulked up, and he'll be stronger. And with strength comes confidence, and with the reps comes confidence as well.
Getting into the tournament, when you look at that matchups, and that's what you're right. The NCAA tournament is guard play, and then it's matchups. And what is a matchup that would really concern you against Marquette to face in an opponent? And what would be one that you would think, hey, that's exactly right. That's right in our wheelhouse.
Yeah, similar. You look at the matchup last night where Xavier comes in. They have a three-headed guard that leads their offense, right? They're 3 guards, and that to me fits perfect with Marquette. I mean, and they were able to shut those guys down. Xavier likes to run the ball up and down the court, but again, Marquette got great guard play, especially defensively. They're good, and they were able to shut those guards down. Now, the issue is if you get those 3 guards and then you get a big guy, and I mean a big guy, a Zach Edey or a Donovan Clingan, like those type of big guys, those are the ones that give you trouble, because the double that we talked about, the switch, then becomes very problematic because they can throw that ball way up high where even the backside defense is not going to be able to get much help on a guy that's 7 feet tall. And we saw, Edey give Marquette some problems on the offensive glass. We saw Clingan get a lot of layups on rolls because he's just too big. I mean, the guards just get up to the 12th floor like that. So that would probably be the matchup. And there's only a handful of elite teams out there like that. So, but they're out there. Obviously, I just named you 2, Purdue, and they got great guard play as well as the big Zach Edey, and UConn has the same thing. So I think those would be the tougher matchups. Not that they can't overcome it, but there will be a much tougher game.
If you compared last year's team with Omax and Shawn Jones with this year's team, who would be better? And you have a lot of improvement from Cam Jones and even Tyler Kolek is. Well, if you compared the two, which one's better, or are they pretty much the same?
Yeah, it is hard to compare because you do have the natural progression of guys getting better who are on that team as well. So you got a lot of the same guys. You're just missing Omax, and I say just missing Omax, but the guy's an NBA prospect. He's playing in the NBA, so he's a very good player to be missing. Man, he gave you a lot on the wing. He gave you offense. He gave you unbelievable defense, hustle. Missing him is tough. It's hard to compare the teams. I would say overall, with as many guys coming back as did, the team is, I would say, better this year. just because of that. Like the guys you mentioned, they're all better than they were last year. So I think that makes for a better team.
Tony, they have 4 games to the finish as we speak in the regular season and then the Big East tournament. I saw someone projecting Marquette as a 2 seed in the South. I know people are saying, especially with Kolek and Oso, you've got to make hay, right? You've got to get at least a couple of wins in the tournament. But that's so easy to say. Do you feel this team, if they're at their best, can make a deep run? Certainly a lot was expected in that regard last season.
Oh, no question. And look at last season. I mean, if you remember, Kolek had a hand injury for that Michigan State game. That derailed the entire thing. I mean, he was not looking to shoot, and I don't think he could even shoot. And I think, when you're on the court and a guy's hampered, I mean, if I'm playing against a guy, I know what he's not looking to do. I can sense something is going on. And now I get to play a different way, and it's freeing in a sense. So Michigan State probably had to feel good that, hey, this guy's not going to attack. He's not looking to shoot. Okay, we got a bit of a break here. So this year, I think obviously you want to be healthy. That's the biggest thing. If they can stay healthy, like I said, they're playing confident right now. Cam Jones seems to have found his shot. We talked about the freshmen have been getting some key minutes. I mean, there's nothing better than minutes out on the real floor during the game for freshmen, like the guards Norman and Lowry. That's invaluable for those guys. So hopefully it pays dividends coming down the stretch and into the Big East tournament, the NCAA tournament. But I think they definitely have what it takes. I mean, they're ranked. They've been ranked very high all season long. So that tells you how good they are. And again, it's going to come down to what John talked about, matchups. And what kind of matchup you get in that second game typically is what it's going to be. And if you get a tough matchup, I mean, you gotta bring it. That's it. I mean, there's nothing else to it. You just gotta step up and want the fight and then take the fight.
Well, Pip, Tony came to Marquette with a ton of potential and talent and a high ceiling, and I watched him, and no one worked harder over a 4-year period to improve. He came out, he's starting guard for the Lakers as a rookie during one game and against the Bucks, and he's taken that same work ethic in the broadcast booth. I think Tony, I've watched over the years, and you've improved to the point where the ultimate respect is during the games. Homer asks you questions. He almost interviews you as to what's going to happen or what would you do, and that to me says a lot.
Yeah, me and Homer have been together. I just try to. I love watching a game. It's and it's one of the things he's told me. You got to explain the game. Like I see the game different, and everybody doesn't always see what I'm saying, and that's all he tries to do. Just tries to let me explain what I'm saying, why I'm saying it, and what might be happening out there, and what players are thinking, because it's not always the same. The first thing I told him, one rule you always hear him tell you, I told him, listen, don't worry about the refs. They're inconsistent. They're consistently inconsistent. So don't worry about the refs. You never know what's going on, Homer. And I said, other thing is, when you see something happen out there on a play, and you're like scratching your head, like, what was that? I go, Homer, players screw up. The coach didn't draw that up. I promise you. I've been a coach before, and I've set my players out there to run something, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? So just a lot of things that people don't know. I mean, because there's been a lot of plays. Like, you look at a end-of-game play that happened, and people are like, what was that? And it's like, that's not what the coach drew up. There was a screw-up somewhere. But that happens, though, right? You're in the heat of the moment, and the coach draws something up, and then you get out on the floor, and, that's coaching strategy. Like, you'll see people come out of a timeout, and they go into a zone, right? Well, the coach probably wasn't expecting zone. He probably drew up a man-to-man play, and now the players, if you're not a savvy, high IQ, smart player, now you got to freeze for a bit, or you got to, you don't know what to do, right? And that's what coaches try to do to other players. They try to get them and confuse them. So there's some hesitation, and all the time you got that shot clock winding down, right? So, it's just fun watching the game, listening to Homer. I barely get to talk, John, by the way, so I'm happy when he asked.
But, bias notwithstanding, as JD said, you've become really good, and you have that gift, that vision. I love to listen because, again, you're a step ahead.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like I said, I could just see some stuff unfolding, and I'm just really just out there. Like if I was out there, I can see this developing, or I can see that. And plus, especially at the Fiserv, I have a bird's eye view, which makes it even way easier. I mean, I can see stuff coming a mile away from that height. Down on the floor, it's a little bit different, but when you're up that high, yeah, you can see a lot of stuff.
JD, any other thoughts for this incredible man here? He's been gracious with his time on the program. Tony Smith.
I guess one last question. Marquette's schedule has been a gauntlet. They've had the opportunity to probably see the two best teams, UConn and Purdue. And it looks like UConn is a step or two above Purdue, and I think could probably boat race them with three-point shooting. But what's your call, or what's your take?
Listen, both of those teams are good, man. I mean, I love Smith, the point guard from Purdue. Obviously, they have Edey, but they have some other pieces out there on the wings too. So Purdue is tough. I mean, that's one of those games, John, where it's going to be who's playing well that day. I mean, that's it. It's not. There's no clear-cut favorite there. There's no slight advantage here, slight advantage there. Those two, they both have two huge guys in the middle. I mean, I think you're going to let Klingen and Edey go one-on-one? Probably. I would. Why not? They're both youth. Let them play each other and see what happens there. So there's no doubling there. I mean, you're talking about the point guards. Newton's a big point guard, but Smith, man, that guy is clutch. He can shoot it. He's quick. He's smart. That'd be a great matchup. I'd love to see that in the first round, as a matter of fact.
Well, we
get those guys.
Yeah, that would be fun. we could talk to you all day long. I want to be respectful of your time and a lot of gratitude. There are many positives we have said and could continue to say about you, Tony Smith, but you are a treasure because you're one of the finest men I've ever come across, and we are blessed to know you, and just thank you very much, and continue to have a great time, and look forward to crossing paths down the line, as always.
Hey, no problem, guys. Love talking to both of you guys. You guys have always been great to me, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. See you next time,
Thanks,
Tony. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the MarquetteHoops.com basketball show. As always, we are brought to you by Moonlight Graham, Modern Dental Benefits. Moonlight Graham, a proud sponsor of the program. Thank you, Craig Caston. And John Dodds, thank you, sir. I miss you. I'm kind of lonely on Jason's set, but you have good reason for being on the Zoom.
Well, Pip, I tore the quad tendon from my right knee, and I have to have it surgically replaced. That'll happen this week.
How about that awesome website? A plug for it one more time.
Sure, thanks, Pip. Our website is MarquetteHoops.com. It's part of the 24/7 network owned by CBS Digital, and we archive all the shows. If you're a Marquette fan out of state that can't watch Channel 24, we'll archive it. And also, we have a newsletter which summarizes all the guests that we have and good stories. We have some recruiting stories.
It's a super dimension. Thank you, JD. For the historian, John Dodds, and our amazing Jason Ruck, our producer, I'm Tom Pippins. We thank our sponsor, Moonlight Graham. That'll do it for the MarquetteHoops.com basketball show. See you next time, everybody. God bless, and go Golden Eagles.